All right, so hey, what's up out there, everybody? So, listen, I have had a couple of videos I wanted to do over this last week. Even tonight, I wanted to get a couple of them done. It has been a crazy, crazy week. It's been hectic. It's been a lot of different things. So tonight I figured, you know what, I'm gonna do a little something different and just have a conversation with y'all. And hopefully the thing is that you'll go ahead and leave comments in chat, let me know what you think or what kind of questions you have, different things like that. And maybe we'll come back and do this again at another point in time. This is not going to be an all the time, like a continuous sort of thing. I don't believe. I think it'll be one of those situations where maybe we'll do this once every couple of months or so. But the thing I wanted to go over tonight is, first off, I want to apologize again because I'm trying to get on some form of a schedule, but with work, everything else that goes on in my day throughout, it's kind of hard right now. Plus, I have a bunch of other things that are going on at the same exact time. So it's like it's trying to balance all of that stuff out, plus create content that is something that's enjoyable for you all. I mean, one of the hopes was to go ahead and start up the meme, our meme review, meme desk, whatever you want to call it, something along the lines of that. But definitely to go ahead and get the rest of the Resident Evil series out, because I've been lagging on that. I have not played it again since I played it with you guys from the very first episode. But anyway, the conversation tonight pretty much is just going over some things that I had conversations with friends earlier today, things that are, asked a lot in some of the games that I play, because we just have conversations about just all sorts of life stuff. So the hope is to kind of give you guys an insight to just life in general and maybe things that'll help you. So first off, always be you. Be who you are. No matter what you think others think of you, live up to who you know you are. And that requires you to understand exactly who you are as a person. All right. Nextly, allow yourself to be humble and understand what humility is. Because it's one thing to say, oh, I'm great at all of this. But you should always keep in mind where you lack, or in the things that you do lack, and never make someone feel inferior to you or to the things that you can do, or that you can say, that sometimes make others feel like, well, they're less of an individual, even though you're simply expressing and giving an answer or expressing yourself. Always do that in such a manner that it doesn't make someone feel like they're less, because the fact of the matter is, for everything that we are great at, for everything we're good at, we lack somewhere. We all have to understand that. I mean, that's just it. And I'm realizing I'm sitting here watching the viewfinder versus actually looking directly at the lens. I have to keep myself in that mindset. Another thing is, understand that conversation is the key to understanding another individual, allowing them to understand you, and working through so many different issues that we have on our day-to-day lives. It's one of the most important things, especially when it comes to men and women. One of the big things that happened tonight was being with friends, and a conversation came out, and that conversation was with both male and female counterparts. And it was a thing where we had such an open discussion about who we are, about what we do, about the differences between us. And there was no necessity to argue. It was simply a conversation amongst adults to just air out things. And what people need to understand is that is a very, very, very important thing for us to move forward in our lives, to grow as individuals. And most certainly, if you're in any form of a relationship, to grow within that relationship with your significant other. Another thing is understanding your own flaws. Knowing oneself is maybe one of the most important things to do within this life, and realize that you pick up along the way, whether you're in your teens, whether you're in your mid-20s, whether you're in your 30s, all of these little things, or it may be one or two specific things that you've known about over the years that you have to grow into and understand and keep in check and control in order to make yourself a better version of you, or the you that you would like to see others view you as. And when I say that, don't be fake. Simply know that controlling maybe a temper or something like that is better than always being in an argumentative state with another individual, because that can be a flaw on some of our behalves. There's a time and a place where an argument may be necessary, where it may need to happen, but even in that argument, it doesn't need to come out so drastically that it's meant to maim or harm another individual emotionally, or turn into a physical nature. Understand that not only do we differ on a great deal of things, but when a conversation arises, that most people will speak in generalities. And maybe you are an exception to a rule, but you are only an exception to specific things within generalized conversations. You cannot be the exception to all things in a generalized conversation. And that's where knowing oneself actually comes into play, even more so than at any point in time it ever can. Realize that people are not meant to read your mind. Realize that when you express something, people are going to take you at face value at that moment, what you say. So always say what it is that you want, not what you think will make someone happy in that moment, or make them go for an idea within that moment, and then turn around and change the entire game up by showing different colors at a later point in time. Essentially, say what you want and you'll get what you want. The rule is, a closed mouth don't get fed. That's just what it is. And that people need to understand that. It makes things so much easier to work through. Be a real friend. Always be a real friend. And if you are, it's not necessarily, a thing that you have to expect others to be that same way as you are, but do have some form of idea what you want from your friends. And if they aren't a friend to you, if they're not there at any point in time that you ever need them, but you're always there for them, maybe that's not a real friend. The last thing I'll say is, know what your gift is. Find your gift. And I'm going to tell you something that most of you may not understand at this point in time, and you may think I'm joking about what I'm about to say. Some people don't find out who they are or what their gift is until they're in their 40s or 50s. And this is a proven fact, and that's perfectly fine. But realize when you have individuals around you who do know themselves so strongly and they're so confident, and they hold characteristics like alpha characteristics. I can tell you right now, one of my best friends says this about me personally all the time. I'm an alpha individual, and they themselves, to some extent, they are an alpha individual as well. And that's the reason why we get along so well, because we hold no animosity towards one another. We hold no envy towards one another, because of the fact that we are alphas and we understand that we can do great things and that we have our own way of going about doing certain things. And there's no confrontation between us. And at the same time, when one of us is doing great, or if one of us understands something more than the other, we are willing to sit and listen to one another and understand that, you know what, this person knows what they're talking about, and there's no reason for me to get mad about anything they're saying. And if I question anything, I can do so, and we'll conversate about it. But the point I'm getting at is knowing who you are and what your gift is in this world will make things so much less complicated for you. And I can tell you right now, what I believe my gift is what I also believe is a great curse. In a great deal of things, it's very hard to connect with other individuals, because on certain levels we differ, in so many different things. But the one thing I know, that whether or not in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or an actual relationship with a significant other, the one thing I know is I may never ever have or hold or control like true love or anything that revolves within that realm. But what I do know is I was placed here to teach. Simply to teach. There are lessons learned in a great deal of things in life. And what people tend to find is that years down the road, they've learned some great lesson from me. Others share that same curse or quality. Others have the gift of actually, pleasing individuals, or just being such a great, foundation for someone to build off of. Different things of that nature. Everyone has something different. There's millions of different things. But the really funny thing about it is this. We always say how we're all so unique and how we're all so different from one another. But what we all should probably really realize is just how much the same we are as one another than we ever expect. Because here's the fact. We all suffer a greater deal of the exact same emotions and the exact same physical ailments, or whatever the case may be, mental illnesses, so on and so forth. Think about it. We're all born. We will all die at some point in time. And in between that, we go on a ride. And that ride includes learning about ourselves, becoming more intelligent, if we so choose to, loving, losing love, finding new love and greater loves, and finding greater heights, or seeking greater heights, or becoming more physically, mentally, emotionally than what we ever were before. We all share these things, and we all need to understand that we are more connected than we are distant from one another. And another thing, when it comes to what we have available to us. And let's take this in terms of a greater understanding of the world around us, our educations, or connectivity. Understand that yes, we have the internet at our fingertips, but for as much information as we can actually find, and as much information that we can gain, or knowledge we can gain from the internet, from searching, from social media, from all of these other things, remember this: at the same time, it causes people anxiety. It creates a form of depression. It creates a stressor. It leads to misinformation. It makes people believe that all of these things that they see on a daily basis on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, someone living X, Y, or Z life, that they can or should be doing the same thing. But that's not always the case. What we need to understand is that we need to be happy with who we are, what we have, and push ourselves to be greater of our own accord versus living up to what others want or believe or perceive things to be. That's not our place. That's what simply throws out false expectations, false realities. For as much truth as we can find a great deal more fallacies. And it's so much easier for people to follow those fallacies or the misinformation and things like that online than it is to actually believe in the truth and in ourselves. But you know what? I don't want to get any deeper into it on that. This was just a little bit of something that, came about through conversations, and maybe it'll help you guys out there to, look forward in your days, look forward in your lives, and just find something greater all the time, because that's all we can do. All we can do is find ways to make ourselves greater on a daily basis. All right. Hey, I'm the Shell Bullet 8. I will definitely be back with the videos that you guys have been wanting. We'll be going over Siege within Z Girls. We'll have Resident Evil coming back. I'll be streaming again on Twitch, as well as here with more COD, all sorts of games, all sorts of new content. I apologize for the long delay, but I will be back. Thanks a lot for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And definitely, if you ever have anything that you want to just talk about, or anything that you have a question about, please feel free to, drop a comment or message me directly. We'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot for joining me. Peace.